Now, what happened? Today we will discuss the second part under the computation under Social Security law, and that is like a Employee State Insurance Act, according to the 1948. Now, why these various acts for the benefit to the employee? Now, we can consider these are a certain provision for the employee benefit in the organization. Though the company, according to their economic structure in that particular tenure of an employee, they are providing all these benefit to the employee considering under the HR's retention strategy. But top on, you know, we government, they are having a specific provision which is compulsion or mandatory to all the organization, private and the public sector organization, to provide to their employee. Now these are under government rules which come under the labor ministry. This is a one provision which is a Employee State Insurance Act, and because it is implemented or it is stated in 1948, that's why it is always it's called as a Employee State Insurance Act 1948. Okay. In the year it is implemented, that's specifically remind the year 1948. Okay, we already discussed the act which is in 1952, because it is implemented establishment in the government sector initially in 1952. Now, what is the provision under this particular act? Now, as we are learning this act under the social security. Now, what does this mean by social security? We know the basic need is accomplished by the your salary or wages which you earn in the your company or organization. Apart from this, there is a provision which can be benefited to employee, maybe in a certain emergency of that candidate or employee. Now, according to this act, it is a social security, or we can say it is a legislation, because it is a given by a law. That's why we are calling it as a social security legislation that provides for medical care. Medical care, hey, yeah, we are getting a cash benefit, or in case of a maternity benefit to the women employee also, as in case suppose the spouse is not working, if she is a home worker, sorry, she is a housewife, see the that employee is getting if the spouse is on a maternity or maybe the certain benefit. Maybe certain during your tenure of your employee, due on the job accident or any disability, maybe there is a, suppose you are working on a machine, so there is a chances of many time what happen, when you're working on a machine, some particle, which is due to that friction of a machine and all that, certainly damage your eyesight. As a air may, if it is in the air and suddenly, so it could be happen, or due to some electrical mix match wiring, maybe there is a shock, and due to that shock, maybe certain time it is such a huge loss, medical loss, maybe a partial disablement, or the what we can say the permanent disable, maybe a fracture in the leg or arm, or maybe anything due to working on a machine, or some functioning of a machine is not proper, that lead to the disablement, and in major cases there is a death due to the employment injury to the workers. Now these are a certain uncertain thing which nobody have, what we can say, we can't predict this, it can happen at any time. Suppose you are your normal road accident, so nobody can predict like on a particular date you will die with the road accident. So same thing happened with the employee. So suppose that employee is working in the organization and he is a and all the family member are dependent on him. So government is thinking like, suppose there is a life is uncertain, and all the family member, if the spouse and suppose he's having a kids who is totally depend on the his is their father, okay, the earning of their father, economically dependent. So what will happen if such a medical emergency happen? Then maybe a partial disablement or fully disablement, or maybe a death. What will happen? So this is a provision considering this uncertainty in a life, and that's why which come under the social security of a employee. So it is very, very essential that you must understand the concept behind this Employee State Insurance Act 1948. I will drop one leaflet which is I have taken from the government website, which given a detail about earlier in your Employee Provident Fund Act. I have given here about more than 5 pages leaflet, which is detail, which has given a detail about what is the clause, what is the section, article under the Employee Provident Act 1952. So like same, we are having, I have given, I will forward one document PDF file on your Google Classroom, which indicates all the clause, all the subsection and the section articles under this particular Employee State Insurance Act 1948. So you just go through that, because suppose if you need to work in a HR, you are framing certain policy, and we need to keep an eye on the government, ruling party and the government, because what happened, according to their indication, according to the instruction which we are receiving from the higher authority, सबसे higher authority, it is like a government. So we need to implement, or we need to make a necessary changes in the current policy. Like we recently given one particular amendments in your employee provident fund. So, but obvious all the organization, it is a mandatory for the organization to do that necessary changes in the current that law 1952 का जो है अपना employee EPF fund. So same thing happened with this Employee State Insurance Act. We need to continuously getting certain instruction from the government, or maybe nowadays we need to visit the government website. They are giving a certain instruction related to how to implement all these. So it is very, very important that according to the norm, if they changes, even there is a very continuous process. Suppose maybe some economist, maybe certain company also, maybe some employee union, they are coming with certain, they are asking to change certain norms. Okay, now it is not a one-day process. Suppose it is they feel that they want something extra, or something for the benefit of the employee, or maybe it is a benefit to the both the party, like the employee and the employer. Now it is a compulsion to the government to listen there what they are saying. Okay, and then they need to pass the bill in the your parliament. We have a both house, lower house and upper house. Okay, so normally we are saying it is a Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So simultaneously there is a standard process. Okay, now for that it is a time consuming, but there are a certain norms specifically considered again under this, like a Maternity Benefit Act, which again come under the Social Security Act. So the government, because when I was learning this particular during my MBA, considering this maternity social security law, the provision was totally different, which I, being a women employee, when I taken the benefit of this particular social security law, the it is totally changed. In my MBA, what I learned, there is a no cash benefit, but you will get the what we can say, the cash benefit in the sense top on, like for your, suppose in a government sector, there was an earlier protocol, suppose your spouse or maybe women employee also, they are going through, because there are a certain medical emergency, and due to that during this maternity or during the delivery also, the women employee, there are two types of a delivery. One is a normal and the one is a cesarean, C-section. Okay, so sort of operation we can say, and the government, they are giving, because this is a provision under the government sector, they are giving the cash for this particular operation or a cesarean. And normal, it is very, but obvious normal, there is a, we are getting the benefit as a leave, and there is a paid leave. So again, that is a cash benefit. Without going to the respective your institute or company, you are getting a full salary. So that is, we can say, in the cash benefit. But this cash benefit is like for the operation also you are getting extra. So you need to provide a certain medical bills, and then your office or your company, they are sanctioning this bill amount for the cesarean or any other operation related to this maternity Now why these are a provision? Because what happened nowadays under the social securities, I'm just discussing on this one maternity benefit. Why they have made a provision? Because if they are not having such a provision, there are lots of amendment from because I learned this in my MBA in near about 2002 and 3. So in that era, the provision is like only 3 months benefit. Okay, so that is a 90 days leave, maternity leave was sanctioned by the government authority to the women employed. So that was in 2003. But over a time, there is a lots of amendments. Okay, now here even private sector and a public sector. So today's provision is like a 6 month. Now, why this a provision? Why this? Just carefully understand the concept behind this State Insurance Act. It is a social security. Now, when it is a social security, because we need to think about what is happening in your society, what is happening in your social life, what is happening in your day-to-day life. Now, we know that we are a victim of, I don't know whether you all people belong to your joint family or a nuclear family, but most most of the students, they are now in a nuclear family, and due to that nuclear family, the impact on a women employee is totally changed. Okay, so they need to surrender themselves for the this particular emergency, family emergency. So considering the social security, then they have increased the leave for a women employee. Now, earlier it was a 3 months and now it is a 6 month. Now, why they kept a provision? Because there is a changes in a social life. Because earlier we were living in a joint family where many women family member was there to look after the newborn or children in the family. But nowadays, being a nuclear family, it is very, very difficult for a working women to take care of their child or infant. So, considering these social changes, social security is provided by the government, and but obvious there is even the cash benefit. 1 decade before, nobody had thought that the government will allow the paternity leave. That will come under the social security again. Nobody thought that. But being, again, that is a case related to your social security and the social system changes. Again, a nuclear family, only the couple they are living together and no other elder member in the family or no other sibling also, like two brothers or say, staying together. No. So here again, there is a changes in the your family structure, and but obvious the government thought according to that. So how to deal with social challenges? How to deal with, how to provide the social security in the certain critical situation? So hence there is a provision. They have given a paternity leave because there is a no elder person in the family to take care of a working women or the his spouse. So this is a one benefit, paternity leave, and nowadays they're thinking like according, earlier it was only 15 days paternity leave. But now simultaneously they have increased the slab of a paternity leave, and specifically in India, it is implemented first in your IT sector. IT because both the means couple, they are working in the IT sector and they are having a lots of huge challenge. Even nobody thought about this is a one concept which come up apart from the social security, work from home. Now it become a need, but I think 2 decades before nobody thought that we can work from your home. Company, they are providing all the necessary equipments or the infrastructure at your respective place, considering like a laptop, a smartphone, a desktop. So these are a certain emergency multimedia they are providing at home, password or some net facility also. And the request is like you need to log in on a particular time, you need to give your 100% to focus on your work. And just say when you enter into premises in any organization, how you work, same thing, you need to work at your home. But you are getting a positive aspect that parallelly, no need to travel to your respective company, and there is a, you can keep an eye on your infant, suppose you are having, and this is like a good solution for a working woman if they are having a kids. Again, this is a provision under the Social Security State Insurance Act, but this is a non-monetary term. where we are looking for certain monetary benefit under the social security legislation. And when it is a it is a legislation, all the organization, they need to implement that. Suppose employee, nowadays employee also very smart. They are aware about their rights because it is an employee right. It is a labor rights. Okay. So if the employer or the company, if they are not providing this benefit, which is they are initiated by the government, if they are not implementing all this benefit to the employee, then what will happen? What will happen? Because employee or the labor also, they are very smart enough nowadays. They are also literate. They are aware about all the labor laws. Now, if not, there are many organizations that already having the labor union. If they are not getting such a benefit, which is their right, now they come together, they will discuss and they will agitate against the employee, against the employer, or against the company. Okay. So like you might have heard that there was a lots of strike or a ghera or a lockout or a bunds during the when the many organizations, they had not implemented the 6th pay. Now this is a pay band. We will learn in the compensation part. Like a pay band, the government, they are having a proper structure to pay the employee. If you are not paying according to the new norms, what will happen? Because it is a right, it is a fundamental rights of all employee to get equal amount what they are supposed to get according to the norms. Okay. So even we know that there is always increment after a year, and that there is an increase in the dearness allowances and the traveling allowances, because your economy of your particular location or your state is changing. So you need to survive in this particular condition. So you want, there is an increment in the salary, and government, they are taking a care to make a new pay band after every 10 years. So it is very, very important that you must get according to the government norms. If not, then employee, they are smart enough and they will agitate against you. They come together, they will they will take out some morcha, or maybe there is a what we can say, the lockouts, ghera. So this would be the, if you are not paying them what they are supposed to get according to the norms. Okay. Now suppose these are various provision under this particular law. We will discuss one by one what are the different benefits covered under ESI, Employee State Insurance Act. Short way हम उसको बोलेंगे ESI Act 1948. Okay. Now examination point of view, these particular laws are very, very important, and I will suggest rather you just prepare your short notes. I'm providing certain documents to you, and even just to understand yourself, जैसे आपको अच्छा लगता है, you just try to remember what exactly the concept of this particular law है ना, कि एम्प्लॉय प्रोविडेंट एक्ट 1952, एम्प्लॉय स्टेट इंश्योरेंस एक्ट 1948. So you just draft certain point which you can easily remember at any time. Okay. Now employees of covered units and the establishment drawing wages up to rupees 10,000 per month come under the purview of the ESI Act. Now under this particular, there are a different medical facility. Suppose medical facility in the sense what? One I have given that is a normal. This is a natural medical facility during your maternity leave, or during your women employee, or maybe your spouse. Suppose you are a male employee, you benefited. You will be benefited if you are giving certain authentic or the legal document you are providing to the company. Now there is a provision to both. To both means what? To the employee. This social security benefit, which is applicable to both the party. Both the party means what? One one individual who is actually working in the that particular that organization. Second is the dependent, all the dependent. Now who is the first dependent on that particular? First is a spouse or a wife. Okay. Second is the children. And if they are a minor, they are really dependent on that person. Okay. Now they need to give a detail when they are signing the agreement. They are also providing all the legal documentation. You need to give a detail about your family and where your like who are your dependent, your related to your spouse. So it is compulsion on the a normal formality. When you are joining any organization, you need to do all this needful. It is very, very important. Now, suppose even there was a provision for the female employee when you are joining the organization before a marriage, your name is changed. Now, once under the social security, if you are availed to get this this all this provision after marriage also, for the authentic documentation, you need to change your name. For that, there is a very simple process. Like maybe all my female student, you maybe you are aware, or I'm just giving a input on that. There is a gazette. You need to nominate your name into a gazette, and there is a affidavit through which you can change your name, providing certain documents, maybe your marriage certificate, or maybe your ration card, or there are a certain, they are giving certain list of a document, maybe your marriage invitation card. So these are a certain means card or the documentation you have to provide, and you can change your name. Even nowadays, like you people are having a all I'm considering these Advait is there, so it may be benefit to all the family member only, but all these female students, you might be having the your all documentation, where your there is a father name and the mother name is reflected, but after the marriage you need to change all the documentation, starting from your PAN card, then your identity card, your there are many documentation, Aadhaar card. So here, to avail this social security benefit, because now your partner, for him you are a dependent on him and maybe a nominee for him. So just for a proper nomination, you need to change your name. Because what happened, just to share with you, initially when I after marriage I was not ready, joke apart, I was not ready to change my name. I said ki there is no need to change my name. But when I visited for my different purpose to the legal documentation and all that, they say ki you need to change your name. And this is a but obvious special in India, because in many countries they are having a very simple name, but in India we are having a first name, then middle name, and then your surname. So these are the three formality. So we need to change. No this excuse for that. And from my PAN card, from my Aadhaar card, all the documentation I have to change, even in a bank, even in a college documentation also. So there is a formality. If you want female employee also, and for suppose for him, like suppose a male candidate, he need to reflect his name. Suppose wife का name यदि nominee में reflect करना है, तो you must change your name. Okay, suppose there is a no proof of identity, you got married to your some like a company person, and he want to nominate you as a maybe a nominee for specific provision social security law, and you are not having you are not holding any documentation, maybe you are not getting your name registered under the आपका जो रेशन कार्ड होता है या आधार कार्ड होता है. So there is a proof. We need documentation. Orally we can't ask that he or she is my wife or a husband. No, we need a documentation. Government, they are asking, or company, for a legal formality, they are asking where is the documentation. Okay, so to avail this social benefit, social security benefit, the point why I have discussed all this formality, to avail the benefit which is given, which is already have a provision under the social security law, from your side also you need to provide all the legal documentation, authentic documentation. Okay, so which is very, very compulsory. Now we will discuss about what are the silent features of the Employee State Insurance Act. Now, the State Insurance Act, which was enacted in 1948 with the object as stated in its preamble to provide for certain benefits to employee in case of sickness, maternity, and the employment injury, and to make a provision for certain other matters in relation thereto. The Act introduced in 1948. So, have you understood the concept behind this particular law?
Yes, ma'am.
So it is a social security in the case of a medical emergency, in the case of your sickness, normal sickness, if you have any emergency, what we can say, the operation, surgery, okay, any injury. So this is a social security law which is given by the um, and even I will provide a list of the changes or the amendments. It is established in 1948. From that period till 2020, there are lots of amendments. Maybe in a period, maybe in a monetary term. Suppose पहले 10,000 है तो अभी उसका क्या होगा? So I will provide a list of like what are the changes over a time period, like from 1948 till 2020. Now object to why they are making the changes in this particular law. So because of the economic structure of the company, there is a different parameter why they are changing, why there is a need of a change or maybe amendments in the particular law. One is like your social structure, that is external, which impact on the company. One. Second is your family structure. Family is a part of social structure, but yes, there is a changes in a family structure. Second. Third is a company rules, regulation, policy or strategy. That is the third. Fourth is government rules and regulation. That is the fourth. And the fifth is your international policy or international strategy changes. Okay. And because in the HR structure, we always say that I always I will always ask you to focus on, like, when you are a HR, you need to not only rely on your internal strategy, but you need to always keep an eye on an external environment. And what is in that particular external environment? I have given the element, like these are a very, very important element under the external environment. Whenever you are framing anything which is for your organization, but you need to, prior to that, you need to take a survey of like what is happening in the external market or external environment. Okay, so considering this, there is a provision in the government sector or sorry, in a government, they are keeping it flexible. It is not rigid. What they said in the 1948, they say ki according to the time, according to the situation in the company or the in government or in India, they definitely will change all these necessary changes which are required by the employee benefit can be applicable. Okay, so it is not rigid. So over a period of a time, I will provide you a list of certain amendments which under this particular section will happen. Now, what exactly we will discuss in detail, like in the 1948 State Insurance Act, earlier we have, like in a in Employee Provident Fund, we have gone through, there is a contribution from both the party. Okay, now suppose we are getting this monetary benefit. Now from where will this money come from? Okay, so we are raising certain point. I am raising certain issue unanswered. We will discuss in the next session. Like there are a certain point which even you people think, like suppose the employee are getting this additional monetary benefit, from where the company is getting this money. One, you please listen this carefully. This is a normal, just to think on that, like from where they are fetching this money. Second is, our government, they are giving certain subsidy for social security benefit. Because they can say, we don't have enough money to pay under the social security, because whatever, we also look for our profit. You know, they are giving a proper salary or the wages to their employee, and they can refuse, saying that we don't have an economic condition to pay all these benefits under the social security law to the individual candidate. Now the question is like, from where this money is coming? Okay, so I leave this particular question unanswered, which we will discuss in the next section. Okay, so prior to that, I'm finishing this today's session saying that I want two things from your side. One, SIP report, and second is literature review. In literature review, you also start working on the company profile. And company profile, like I'm giving a range from 2 to uh, less than 10 pages and more than 5 pages company profile. And parallelly I want 10 literature review. The sources are maybe a research paper, article, journal, any textbook from any international journal or a textbooks, Indian textbook or Indian author textbook or international author. So these are the sources from where you can just retrieve your data under the literature review. Is that okay? So take a time. I want within a 2 days your literature review to be completed. If you are getting any difficulty in a literature review, please let me know. And company profile, that is I think no need to waste time in that because it is already available on the website of any company profile. So you can, but you need to write specifically focus on the HR functioning of so and so organization where you are working or you are doing your SIP. As a HR student, for us, that is only important. No need to write a marketing strategy or a financial strategy. Mostly you focus on the HR strategies of respective company where you are doing your SIP. Is that clear? Please anyone give me a feedback. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So take a
Yes, ma'am.
4 days time to write your company profile and 2 days for your literature review. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Chalo, see you tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.